There's so much being said on social media about the situation in South Africa. And if you are listening to me now, I must warn you, but I don't have to warn you if you have listened to me before. I am not a person who is a populist. I am not a person who plays to the gallery. I am not a man pleaser. I am not nobody's minion. Neither am I anybody's court jester. So when you come to Chiwenga, be ready to hear counsel from God. You may like it or you may not like it. We don't care. We don't speak to be liked. If you want to be liked by everybody, ask God to turn you into ice cream. That is the only thing that is loved by everybody. Perhaps money. Money is loved by everybody. So we don't expect you to think that we'll say things that you clap hands to. We won't. Today, we are going to address the migration problem that has happened in South Africa and where our people, Zimbabweans, are also found in the crossfire. So if you are a Zimbabwean and you are in South Africa and you are wondering what would be the correct interpretation of the situation, you are in the right place. We will show you the truth of God. But before we open scriptures that address this truth, we must show you that God is not patronizable. You can't patronize God. You can't bribe God. What is God's truth concerning the people, foreign nationals that are in South Africa? I believe that our people, not only in Zimbabwe, but all over the world, we suffer from selective amnesia. There are things we think we should not remember. I think we are willingly forgetting them. And then when we are encountering matters that we feel they are less difficult to tackle, we easily remember them. I would like to call out, most importantly, Zimbabweans who have come out openly to criticize South African citizens for demonstrating their exasperation, for expressing their impatience with the issue of immigration, immigrants, African immigrants, which are in South Africa. I want to call out such Zimbabweans. And I want to say, I admire your expertise in displaying hypocrisy with a straight face. That you are capable of going on Twitter, recording videos, say, we condemn, we condemn, we condemn, we condemn. The coordinated condemnation of South African citizens, to me, it's a pure demonstration of selective amnesia and expert hypocrisy on the part of Zimbabweans. Because the reason why Zimbabweans are in South Africa, it is because Zimbabwe was and had become and is still hostile to Zimbabweans. The reason why Zimbabweans are leaving Zimbabwe to go to South Africa is what Zimbabweans should be addressing, and not the behavior of South Africans. So you are selectively forgetting the root cause of illegal immigration. The root cause. Why are Zimbabweans without permits to work in South Africa insisting on getting jobs without following the due processes according to South African law? Why? Why? Now, tell me that there are people, and I hope someone will address me, even those who think they are educated, more educated than me, I'm willing to engage them. What kind of education is it that you are not willing to address the absence of food in your own house, but you are willing to go and fight with your neighbor over not sharing food with your child equally with his child? There's no food in your house. You can't feed your own children. Your child is eating from the next door. The children from the next door house are not happy because they are no longer having as much food as they used to had your children stayed in your own house. Instead of fighting with your husband why he can't provide food for his own children, you go and insult and cry and demonstrate and threaten the woman from next door. She's giving your children problems when she's dishing out food. Tell me that that is intelligence. And I'll tell you that we are doomed. We are hopeless and we are cursed. If you are brave, write something about ZANU-PF. If you are brave, write something to President Mnangagwa. He is the reason why Zimbabweans are in South Africa. There's no writing anything that will change the situation. So you can write a lot. I saw someone wrote 7 paragraphs, and I just browsed through and I said, yo, this guy is so intelligent. This guy has too many things to write. So you are expecting South Africans to write 7 paragraphs of criticism. You are criticizing South Africans on Facebook. Urukufunga kuti uchawana South African ane simba ndikuverenga 7 paragraphs uchipopota. Wadi kunyorera Mnangagwa 7 paragraphs. Gwarare munhu. You are a coward. So one of the things that the true house of God will not do is to join the bandwagon of madness in a miscarriage of Ubuntu and a miscarriage of the ideologies of Pan-Africanism. No, that's not Pan-Africanism. It's actually shameful that when Mo Blessing Ali was murdered, you were quiet. You want to protest on Facebook, social media protestations, social media activism about what is happening 1,000+ kilometers away from home. You want to explain to South Africans that they should treat Zimbabweans like they are human beings, when they are treated like animals by their own father. A president is a father. Do you know that some Zimbabweans, with all this Afrophobia you are talking about, they feel safer in South Africa than in Zimbabwe? Yes. They would rather do cat and mouse with South Africans than the thought of coming home. Because in Zimbabwe, they are not protesters who march from a distance. You can hear them and you can run away in time. In Zimbabwe, you are taken at midnight by people in black suits with unregistered vehicles, and you will never be found again. That is the reason why Zimbabweans are running away. So Zimbabweans who are complaining to South Africans, I say to you, you are cowards. Shameless cowards. Are you a man now? Why don't you go to Mutapa building like I did? In case you don't know, I went to the president's office twice. First time when Mugabe was around, before he was ousted through a coup. The second time, it was when President Mnangagwa took office. This is not something I'm making now. I went to his offices with a letter, and I entered his office, and I said, you are sending security people to stalk me. Your people are harassing me every time I'm leaving the country through the airport. I hear you are looking for me. I'm here. I've come to present myself. I did that. And I said, there are reasons why I criticize your government. You don't have to send security personnel, CIOs, military intelligence operatives to look for me. I am not a fugitive of justice. I'm a preacher. I'm found in public spaces. But in case you haven't thought about it, to invite me, I'm here by myself. I'm here to tell you that the things I preach about, they are what constitutes the doctrine of God. You say this nation worships the God of heaven. You took office and you took an oath through the Bible. My messages are coming from the very Bible you took an oath using. You are not allowed to kill people. So I wrote this letter to President Mnangagwa. I did not meet with him. I met with him with his private secretary. And she said, I'll give this letter to the president. And I said to her, you can talk to him wherever he is. Tell him the guy is here. One of the reasons why I am here, it is because if you continue stalking me, the fear of who is following me is actually bigger than the fear of death itself, because I'm not afraid of dying. So you are sending 4 or 5 vehicles to follow my cars. The advantage you have now is I'm here. If you want me to put my head on the block, show me the log. You can cut me now, and I have people here, they will carry my body. It's not going to be a problem. We are not afraid of speaking the law of God, the mind of God, giving wise counsel even to politicians, because that is the right thing. We were the only people in Zimbabwe to challenge and to take the government to task over human rights abuses. They tried to kill me twice because of that. And here, I have a list of people that were murdered on 1 August 2018, soon after the elections. They were shot by the military. The current vice president was the commander of the defense forces, which means these people were murdered at his command. Sylvia Maposa, Ishmael Kumire, Gavin Dean Charles, James Chikandira, Brian Joao, Challenge Tauro. These are the people who were murdered on 1 August by the army. President Mnangagwa constituted the Motlanthe Commission. And the Motlanthe Commission, after months of hearing testimonies from different people, released a report. In that report, the Motlanthe Commission said the army killed these people. There is no church in Zimbabwe which has condemned the 1 August killings except Jesus Revelation Ministries. We are the only people who openly challenged it, and we said, we are not sheep on the slaughter. The government cannot kill its own people. That is not governance. Until today, President Mnangagwa has not issued a public apology. Neither has Vice President Chiwenga, who was the CDF, the Command of the Defense Forces at that time. Because of these speeches, they tried to kill me twice. And through the assassination attempts, I lost my wife. Got seriously injured, have gone through 9 surgeries to date because of my open speech against barbarism, abuse of power, the militarization of the public service, the abuse of state resources, and the constant disappearance of opposition politicians in Zimbabwe. Among other things, among other people, this is another list of the people murdered in Zimbabwe by the state. Tichaona Chiminya, Talent Mabika, Tonjera Indira, Itai Dzamara, More Blessing Ali, Bishop Tafumanei, Archford Shipio, Ngoni Knight, Gibbs Chironga, Tapiwa Mganda, Tabita Marume, Dadirai Chipiro, Hama Madamombe, Beta Chokururama, Kenny Nyeve, Godfrey Kauzani, Alex Chisiri, Tapiwa Meda, Joseph Muzuramende, Godfrey Jemedze, Wilson Emmanuel, Fishuraidof. I think they forgot to put Mbonen Nwe. These are some of the people murdered by the state in Zimbabwe. They hunted me for months and they tried to kill me many times until I had to leave my own country. Hopping from one country to another as I'm doing now, not because of anything. I was never looking for a job. I don't need a job. I've got my own businesses and I'm a preacher of the word. No one can employ me right now. Even if I was going to look for a job, no one can pay me the money that I would need for a salary. The reason why we are speaking like this, it is because Zimbabwe is unsafe for its people. I had employees when I was in Zimbabwe that I was paying in my business. I had to shut down some of my business operations because it wasn't viable to run it from outside the country. Those people are now jobless. They lived on my money that I was paying them because we were doing business with them. They were employees. Now, if you want to help Zimbabweans, would you fight with South Africans who are saying their home is not in order and you are not making things better? Go home. Or you'd rather talk to your own father and say, stop harassing your children. People who say you are not doing well, they don't need to die. Just to prove them wrong. You understand? Yes. If we say the president is abusing power, he doesn't have to kill us to prove that he's not abusing power. He simply needs to prove us wrong by doing things right. It is not a crime to criticize your president. South Africans criticize their president all the time, and they don't find their lives under any threat. Our government is barbaric, and our government is too authoritarian. So, the Jews in Exodus chapter 3 are in trouble. If you read Exodus chapter 1, they were being abused by Egyptians. And what happens is that the Jews prayed and cried to God. And God spoke to Moses. And he said what in verse 7?
And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard in their cry by reason of their taskmasters. For I know their sorrows, and I am come down to deliver them.
Verse number 7 again.
And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt.
So the Jews were in a foreign land.
Mm-hmm.
The Jews were Hebrews.
Yeah.
Their own country was Israel,
mm-hmm.
the land of Canaan.
Mm-hmm.
But now they are in Egypt.
Yes.
And the Egyptians started abusing
mm-hmm.
the Hebrews.
Mm-hmm.
And what did the Jews do?
And they've heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows.
So the Jews cried to God.
Mm-hmm.
and the Jews were full of sorrows.
Yes.
Let us see if God sent people to criticize Egyptians on social media. Tell Egyptians to have the spirit of Ubuntu, pan-Egyptianism or pan-Africanism, whatever you want to call it. I told you, I'm here to tell you the truth of God now.
Yes.
These are foreigners in a foreign land.
Yes.
They feel that they are not treated well. Like Zimbabweans,
Yes.
like Nigerians, like Ghanaians, like the Congolese.
Yes.
We are being abused by South Africans. We are treated as foreigners. You are foreigners. Don't confuse the two. You are foreigners.
Yes.
You cannot say borders are a colonial construct. The 1884 Berlin Conference construct only when it suits you. Zvekuti mabhodha akabva kuvarungu ngazvirege kungozoshanda bedzi kana makuda kugara munyika muziri menyu.
All right.
We told you we don't need people with selective amnesia. These borders, you are saying they are a colonial construct. They work for you. You love them. They gave you power to call these minerals your own minerals. You say gold is ours. Diamonds are ours. You are using the borders. So the borders are important when you are corrupt and stealing state resources for a personal gain. But when you want to stay in another country where you are now unwelcome, you say Africa had no borders before the Berlin Conference. Selective amnesia, selective application of Pan-Africanism. We are not hypocrites like some of you. If we need to do away with borders, let's do it once and for all. Kana iri nguva yekuti une mombe dziri kusisa mukaka, unotengesera mukaka wopa next door, utengesa dora pekapu. Kana mombe dzako dzisisina mukaka, wakuda muriwo, wakukrosa muganhu weyadhi yako, unotemha muriwo ku next door, oti zvemadhunduri zvine miganhu zvakauya nevarungu. Now, some of these people who claimed to be educated, they are now exposing themselves that education has failed to make them wiser. Yes. Are you a Pan-Africanist now? Vouya here kwachiadzwa kuma South Africans tichiti zvemabhodha ndezvevarungu. Vouya here kwachiadzwa uku. Vouya here kumazowe kumakomba egoridhe uku. Mazamazama ari muMpumalanga muyamia. Vouya here kumazowe kunochera goridhe. Since zvemabhodha zviri zvevarungu. Saka zvemabhodha muzvide makazvivenga kutanga rini. So, as you look at the scripture on the screen, Hebrews cried to God because they were afflicted by Egyptian taskmasters. And God says, I know your sorrows. Let's find out if God sent a commission, a human rights commission to Egypt to mend relations between foreigners and locals, stay together peacefully, Pan-Africanism, Pan-Middle Easternism. Verse 8.
And I am come down to deliver them out of the land of the Egyptians.
To go where?
Out of the hand of the Egyptians.
Yes.
And to bring them up out of that land unto a good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto the place of the Canaanites,
yes,
and the Hittites,
yes,
and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites.
Yes.
Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppress them.
Yes.
Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
God never sought peace between the Egyptians, the local citizens, and the Hebrews, the foreigners. Why? Why would God not? It's like God said, well, I don't care that the Egyptians were oppressing you. Because in verse 9, God actually said, the way you are being treated by the Egyptians is not right. The Egyptians are oppressing you. So what we are saying right now does not condone what citizens are doing to foreigners. Because God did not say the Egyptians are doing you well. Well done, Egyptians, for mistreating my children, the Hebrews. No. If that is what you are hearing, I'm not responsible for your inability to understand. I am not your creator. Maybe God will help you. He's the one who made you like that. God did not say, well done to the Egyptians for oppressing my people. He said, I have also seen the oppression by which Egyptians oppress them. But yet, the solution is not to try and reason with the Egyptians. Verse 10 is clear. Come now, therefore, I will send you unto Pharaoh, that you may bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Out of Egypt. Now, I want you to see the selective amnesia I am talking about. The very people who say borders are a colonial construct, they are saying this in English. A language that was used to cause us to hate our own language by the same colonizers. We don't even have a language that all Africans can understand one another with. We don't. So you are trying to deconstruct the structures of colonialism. You haven't considered that we might need to start with embracing our own African language. We must be speaking the Swahili language, all of us. That is the mother of all Bantu languages. Pan-Africanism yakwe. Iko kutoti Pan-Africanism kune ka Berlin Conference connotation futhi. Saka mune unyengeri mufunge. Now, there's one thing that people need to understand. I think also education has failed us in that regard. The idea that everything that the whites did in Africa is totally wrong and it must be reversed. That call is made by extremely disingenuous people who know what to say for them to get your political support. But deep inside, they are sure not only is it impossible to do, but there is no willingness to even implement their total Pan-African approach. There are so many things that God has done using different times in history and different historical experiences. The idea of formal education, going to school, is totally un-African. There was no school in Africa before we were colonized. The education system in Africa, pre-colonial Africa, was oral education. Generations passing knowledge to new generations through oral conversations. Mothers would pass on women education in the kitchen as they prepare meals with their daughters. And fathers would hold diary meetings with their sons. There were no schools. It's not difficult to prove. Just tell us one of the schools that were in Zimbabwe before 1890. You don't need to speak quantum physics. And yet, formal education has become an indispensable aspect of life. So we can't deconstruct everything. There are so many things we gained from colonialism. Yes, colonialism has its own gains.
Yes.
Imagine if the whites had not come to colonize us, what we would be wearing today. If you don't know your history, you don't know why we are smiling. Chikadai chingoswera chichiherereka zvataita zviya zviya. Handiti izvizvi vakadzi vari kudzikisa mabhulauzi zamu hafu yezamu robuda wotopedza watsikwa nemota kudai. Vakadzi vekuafrica kudhara vaifamba mazamu ese ari pachena, zvoti kudai vakatsikwa kudhara. Padre Charity, varume vatina vava vedu vemazuva anava vangadai vakatsikwa kudhara. Noti kuratidzwa hafu yezamu wobva wapotsa watsikwa nemota. Mazuva emhapa neshashiko ungadai wakatsikwa kudhara. Kutopfeka kwatiri kuita uku zvinenge zvatotibatsira kuti tirarame. Kuti vanhu vaive kunguva iyo vava vakati simbei ndangariro vava vasingavhirikidzwe nazvo stereki. Mhepo yetikangotuvere ruso zvaisara zvisina kunyatsomira mushe. But vanhu vaisvika kunochera mvura kutsime vachitodzoka. Zvino iwe ona zvaunoita. Etonge wadya mudzepete. Saka it's not true that national boundaries, being a colonial construct, we need to deconstruct them in order for the spirit of Ubuntu to thrive, in order for Pan-Africanism to thrive. It's not true. We can still exercise and practice Pan-Africanism. We can still practice great levels of Ubuntu with these national boundaries. There wouldn't be any harm to that. We have it in Europe. We still know where the country of France starts and where Germany ends. We know the boundary between Greece and Spain. They are boundaries. And yet, they have one European Union passport. In most cases, you can travel from Germany to the Netherlands without a passport. So it is happening in Europe without breaking national boundaries. So why are you trying to tell us that national boundaries are a threat to Pan-Africanism? It's not. It's simply a backpassing and blame shifting. We need to desist from that. God said, I heard the cry. My people are foreigners. Mm-hmm. They are being oppressed by the nation, the host country. Mm-hmm. And yet, God's solution was not to send thunder to kill all Egyptians. Mm-hmm. God said, leave them with their country. Go back home. That was God. Now, I don't know. Verse 24, Brethren, Charity Acts 17. And you go to Numbers chapter 20, verse 14. We want to confirm what we just read in Exodus chapter 3 in another scripture to find out, did really God send the Hebrews back home?
And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh
Moses sent messengers to Kadesh to the king of Edom.
That says, thy brother Israel.
Yes.
Thou knowest all the travail that has befallen us.
Yes.
How our fathers went down into Egypt.
Yes.
And we have dwelt in Egypt a long time.
Ah, so we have some Zimbabweans who dwelt in South Africa for a long time. We have some Malawians who dwelt in South Africa for a long time. Moses is talking to the king of Edom. They had already left, but they had not yet arrived in their own land. They wanted to pass through the land of Edom.
Yes.
On their way home. Kutenda kumba kudai. Mwari wokudenga akataurira vaHebheru kuti kana muIjipita musingachagarike handei kumusha. Amene tiri kuzvinzwa here izvo. Mwari ngaendidzokoro dzine shona. Mwari akati kana muIjipita vasisakudei endai kumusha.
Yes.
God said to Moses, tell the Hebrews, you are foreigners in Egypt. If the Egyptians no longer want you there, go home.
Yes.
That is God for you. I'm seeing Nigerian pastors, this one is prophesying, that one is prophesying, intimidating South African citizens. Prophecy from Hubert Angel, prophecy from Apostle Selman, prophecy from Pastor Chris, intimidating South Africans. Why don't you prophesy for the teachers and school children to be returned by Boko Haram and the Fulani headmen in Nigeria? Are you a man of God, Hubert Angel? You want to prophesy to intimidate South Africans? Prophesy the whereabouts of the remains of Itai Dzamara. Are you a prophet now? Since when does God raise a prophet who is relevant to another country but his own? Was Elijah a prophet of Syria? Or he was a prophet to Israel? A prophet's primary duty and jurisdiction is his own nation.
Yes.
If God wants prophecies for South Africa, he will raise South African prophets.
Yes.
You can give prophecies here and there, but surely the whole African continent cannot have a message for South Africa simply because South Africans no longer want them in their own country. Don't deceive yourself now. These are not prophets. These are charlatans.
Yes.
Any prophet who is issuing a prophecy to intimidate South Africans is not coming from God. Because in the days of Moses, the prophet, God spoke to Moses. Was Moses not a prophet?
He was a prophet.
Was Moses sent to prophesy to Egyptians?
No.
Moses was sent to prophesy to the Hebrews,
Yes.
to lead them out, to go home.
Amen.
Instead of issuing a prophecy to intimidate South Africans, why don't you intimidate your own president who is harassing the citizens? So God gives you strength to intimidate foreign people in their own country. You don't have strength to confront your own president. Ha! Ndimwari upi anokupa simba rekuthreatena president weimwe nyika uchisiya wako? Ramaphosa this, Ramaphosa that. It's a lie. You are a coward. Real men of God, they address issues from a godliness and a godly truth vantage point. Like what we are doing.
Yes.
So, what did Moses say to the king of Edom? Read it.
How our fathers went down into Egypt,
Your fathers went down to Egypt.
and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time.
How long were you in South Africa? I said, I saw one video, a certain guy, a brother from another country saying, I've been in South Africa for 20 years. That's a very short time. Hebrews were in Egypt For 430 years, they remained foreigners.
Yes.
But they don't do that to white people. So you are now the judge. You are going to be the High Court judge in South Africa to preside over the immigration issues of your own people. Saka, inga machaina ari kubatwa zvakanaka muZimbabwe, maZimbabweans achiburwa wani. That South Africans give special treatment to white people and harass black people. It's also happening in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans are abused by their own government. The same government is protecting Chinese nationals doing business in Zimbabwe. Before you address the South African biases, why don't you address your own Zimbabwean bias? Usati wataura zvema-Africana ari muSouth Africa, wadi kutaura zvema-China ari muZimbabwe. Our government is compensating white people who had lost land through a land reclaim program. But Zimbabweans' properties are being demolished by the council as we speak. While the government is paying white people money for the farms they stole during the colonial era. We are compensating thieves in Zimbabwe. The whites stole our land.
Yes.
Mnangagwa is paying them back for stealing our land. At the same time, the president is sending bulldozers to destroy buildings and houses of local citizens. Is that not madness? So before you tell us about how South Africans treat white people, talk to us about issues happening at home if you are genuinely invested in these matters. And by the way, I want to say, if you are an African and you are faced with a decision to go home, you shouldn't go home with a lot of sorrow. I know that African countries are being mismanaged, and the reason why you left is that things were not well. But it's still your home. That's where your ancestors' graves are. There must be a level of pride that you are finally going home. Right. What happened? Verse 16. Verse 15.
We have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Lord, he heard our voice and sent an angel and has brought us forth out of Egypt.
No, he has spoken to the locals to treat you well.
He has brought us forth out of Egypt.
God sent an angel, according to Numbers 20, to bring them out of Egypt.
Yes.
Finish the verse.
And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border.
So Moses was asking for the king of Edom to allow them free passage on their way home. Takachema kuna Mwari. I don't know if you are a Zimbabwean, you are a Malawian, are you a Zambian, are you a Congolese, are you a Ghanaian, are you a Nigerian? I know relocating will affect your way of life. You might need to change your children's schools. You might need to do adjustments. Maybe build a business premise. You may not recover your money. Those are the ills associated with immigration. Whether you are going back home because you are no longer wanted there, or there are other personal reasons why you should go home, the effects are the same. What I want you to know is that when they cried to God, God sent them an angel to bring them out of Egypt. Vadana kuna Mwari, vachema kuna Mwari, vaHebheru, vaIsraeri. Vatinoti Israeri ya Mwari, holy nation, rudzi rwakakomborerwa, vaIsraeri ndo vanhu vachichavo chaivo. Ivo vanhu vaive vakakomborerwa vaive vakatombochemawo futi, vakutambudzika vari maforeigners. Mwari ndobva anzwa kuchema kwevanhu vaIsraeri. Mwari haana kutuma mheni kurova vaIjipita vaivatambudza. Mwari akati vanhu vari munyika mavo, imi dzokerai kumusha kwenyu. munotangidza. Go back home. If that is the only choice we have, it is the right choice. We are not saying everybody should go and leave South Africa, no. If you are not illegal and you are doing business well and you are safe, you can continue with what you are doing. We are not here to advise on what you should do. We are simply saying the correct interpretation of the current situation is that anybody who is not in his country should not think that those who are in their own country are wrong when they say we don't want you anymore. No, that's not true. Now, you must understand that Zimbabwe once had an issue of illegal immigration. And we were not very kind to Mozambicans when we bussed them back to Maputo. I was very young those days, but I saw it happening. I still remember the news reported on national television of Mozambican nationals who were forced into buses at Mbare Msika. And they used a very, very condescending approach to determine who is a local and who is a Mozambican. They used the Shona proverbs. I remember another proverb vakashandisirwa yanga iri kuti vakanzi mbwanyoro. Saka vamwe vacho vari kuMalawi vakugona Shona but vaine accent yekuMalawi. Saka vakanzi mbwanyoro itsumo inopedzeswa ichinzi kudii. Ndobva vakomana vatadza kutaura kuti imbwanyoro ndidzo tsengi dzamato. Zvikanzi inenge yawira mudhamu. Vakanzi pindai mubhazi mudzokere kumusha. So you may forget because of selective amnesia, but we were not kind to Malawians and Mozambicans at some point. I see some Malawians saying Zimbabweans are very kind. Maybe the present day Zimbabweans are very kind. But go back into history and find out how Zimbabwe treated Mozambicans and Malawians in the 1990s. I was very young, but I saw it happening. Taitaura tsumo kuvanhu vatinoziva kuti havagone mutauro wedu. Tichivaisa muzvimagumete, muchiri kuziva zvimagumete zvaimbotakura vasungwa, zvakambotakura vanhu futi zvikanovasiya kuborder Forbes border post, zvimwe zvikanovasiya kuNyamapanda, zvimwe zvikavasiya kuMachipanda. Tichitaurira vanhu vatinoziva kuti language yavaitaure, tichitaurira vanhu tsumo. Munzivi wenzire paruware. So when we become victims, let us not think that our victimhood makes us a saint. One of my celebrated intellectuals, Chinua Achebe, in one of his books says, those who see no blot of villainy in the beloved oppressed, they see the faintest glimmer of humanity in the hated oppressor are patriots, partisans, and party liners. In the great finale of things, there will also be mansions where they will be lodged and received. When you become a victim, you start to believe that you are a saint. Because you are a victim. No, sometimes it's just a matter of time and chance. All right. And when I talk like this, I also want you to know that we know that what citizens are doing in South Africa is not a citizen movement that is not supported by the state, unless you don't know how to read political situations. The government of South Africa is silently and privately instigating the ill treatment of immigrants in South Africa. We see the invisible hand of the state in what is happening in South Africa. One of the reasons that does not need a political scientist to determine is the presence of police officers when private citizens are breaking people's doors to demand papers and flushing immigrants out of their houses. A very open and clear violation of constitutional rights, the right to dignity, the right to privacy. You understand?
Yes.
Yes. The right to dignity is enshrined in Section 10 of the South African Constitution, and the right to privacy is enshrined in Section 9 of the South African Constitution. Those violations are done in the presence of police officers. That makes the state complicit in the harassment of immigrants. So anybody who believes that this is just a private citizen operation is extremely naive. But the bottom line remains, there is no solution than for our people to go home when their lives are threatened. They may be doing it privately to try and minimize the fallout with international institutions like the World Health Organizations, the United Nations, the SADC principles, and the AU principles, which South Africa may be a party to. But anybody who sees what is happening on the ground can tell you that the South African government is behind what is happening and what is done by the private citizens. The duty of police officers is to enforce the law. If when the law is broken, they are present, protecting not the victims, but the perpetrators. That means the state has sanctioned what the private citizens are doing. Mm-hmm. The private citizens are doing what the state is afraid of doing in the public. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is it's their country. You can say, let us have a human rights complaint against South Africa. It won't solve the problem. Now imagine all the governments that have condemned South Africa for what has happened in the past few weeks. Imagine if the government of Ghana and other governments that may have voiced out their concerns, if those people had spoken when ZANU-PF stole elections in Zimbabwe, if those governments had spoken when the only politician who spoke publicly was the now former president of Botswana, former president Seretse Khama, when Zimbabweans were murdered in the streets, African presidents remained quiet. Zimbabweans left their home because they did not want to die. You understand where our selective amnesia is and our lack of ability to articulate our problems progressively and effectively. Between condemning state-sponsored violence in each and every African country where citizens are terrorized by their governments, between doing that and threatening or condemning what President Ramaphosa should have done or should not have done, which one would solve this problem? Zvingasolve a problem in the GP. Kuti vaRamaphosa ngavataure nevanhu venyika yavo varege kushungurudza maforeigners. Nekutaurira Mnangagwa kuti musashungurudze vanhu venyu kuti vazotiza munyika mavo. Zviri nani ndezvipi? Zvinosolve problem ndezvipi? When people are crying foul that the election processes are manipulated by the ruling party and these elections are a fraud, these African countries must come together, force each other to do and preside over credible elections. And then they must also force each other to implement policies that cause their nations to grow so that they do not become a basket case that requires citizens to look for greener pastures. The reason why Nigerians are opening businesses in South Africa and not in Nigeria, it means there's something in South Africa that is not in Nigeria. Why don't they address it when they meet in Addis Ababa at the African Union headquarters? Why don't they do that when they do their SADC meetings? So you want to force one president to take care of all these nationals. You mismanage your country. Nobody talks to you about it. Nobody wants to take you to task. Your people run away from your country. And now you are blaming this country receiving your people for being inhuman. How does that work? So our interest is not in condoning the violence that then happens through the protests or the abuse of private property rights, the abuse of the right to dignity, the right to life. We don't want people to die, any national to die, South African or Zimbabwean or Ghanaian or Nigerian. We want life to be sacrosanct as it was designed by God. That's what we want. But as the house of God, we know what is the root cause of this problem. And we know the solution. And so we are not going to address band-aid issues or symptomatic solutions. We don't want to give solutions to symptoms of the problem. We want to give solutions to the root cause of the problem. If you are a journalist in Zimbabwe, you are shameless if you have the audacity to condemn what South Africans are doing to Zimbabweans, and yet you have been quiet when Zimbabweans are unceremoniously disappearing every now and again. People's rights are violated every day. You are afraid to confront your government. Now you want to pretend like you are a man because you are speaking to South Africans from 1,000 kilometers. What a bunch of cowards we have for journalists. Are you a journalist right now? Did you write about Mo Blessing Ali? Did you write about Bishop Tafmane? Did you write about Tinashe Chitsunge? Did you write about the abuse of Joanna Mamombe and Cecilia Shibiri? Did you write about the abuse and the torture of Dr. Magombe? Suddenly you are now good at writing about human rights issues. When did you start to hear about the word human rights? How many people have had their houses demolished in the past years since Mnangagwa took office? You can't write about it. You want to write to President Ramaphosa. Imagine, with all this advice, you can't advise your own father, your own president. We don't want to associate with that. We are the house of God. I know if you are the person facing harassment, your life is in danger in South Africa, I may not have sounded like a bringer of good news. But this is the truth. Your safety is the responsibility of your own government. The right thing for you is to go and confront our government so that they can be responsible. Finally, we want to read Acts 17:24 to remind you that it doesn't matter who proposed the idea of international boundaries, but we know the idea came from God. So if you are a Zimbabwe, your boundary is where you should stay within. Don't tell yourself that there are no boundaries. The boundaries were imposed by the Europeans. We love these boundaries. We only pretend to hate them when we are disadvantaged by them. We shouldn't be hypocrites. We should wake up. That is the reason why we went to school, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Acts 17:24. God that made the world and all things therein.
Yes.
Seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth.
God is Lord of heaven and earth.
Dwelleth not in temples made with hands.
Yes.
Neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything. Seeing he giveth to all life and breath and all things.
Yes.
And hath made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth.
Yes.
And hath determined the times before appointed.
So God made the nations of men. He made them from Adam one blood.
Yes.
God wants us to dwell on all the face of the earth. God has determined everybody's lifetime on earth. What else has God determined?
And the bounds of their habitation.
Highlight that part. The boundaries of our life, our territories, our national boundaries, they were a determination of God. That the whites are the ones who came up with this idea. It was because they had already established boundaries in their own countries before us. Right now, you prove your identity with your birth certificate and your national ID. That is not an African idea. Don't pretend that you love African ideas when your life is full of European ideas. Who saw the birth certificate of King Lobengula? Who saw the birth certificate of King of the Rovi State? These are European constructs. We love them. You proudly bring out your national ID, your passport. Now you are claiming they are a colonial construct. Since when? Is it a fault that they became enlightened ahead of us? Imosha ekuti vakachenjera pamberi pedu. Our government always says we thank God for diasporans, for remittance of foreign currency, which is a big contributor to our balance sheet. This is the time for the government of Zimbabwe to say thank you. Because every time a legal or illegal immigrant, a legal or illegal Zimbabwean sends $1 to Zimbabwe, the government gets something from that. Yes. It doesn't matter they had papers or they don't have papers. Anyone who sent money through Mukuru, M-Pesa, what else?
Paisa.
What?
Hello, Mari.
Hello, Mari. Hello, Paisa. World Remit. What is the other platform?
Western Union.
Western Union. If you are sending money to your relatives, the government collects the tax from that. So the government has a duty to make sure it sends buses to collect our people. But as an apostle also, I have something that I am requesting our government to do. I am humbly requesting Mr. Mnangagwa's government to give a special rebate to Zimbabweans that are going back home so that they don't pay any taxes, any VAT, any duties for their personal belongings. It's cruel for a government to expect people who are being kicked out of a foreign land to pay import duties for their personal belongings, their clothes, their household goods, their TVs, their fridges, and their beds and furniture. It would be cruel. They cannot qualify to get the rebate that is given to returning residents because most of them were not working with legal documentation. The government must say a maximum of 1 fridge per person, a maximum of 1 television set or 2 television sets per person, a maximum of 3 beds per person. You can come in and set yourself up. It would be better for them to only focus on food and housing, but they carry their furniture with them. If there is any humanity in President Mnangagwa, he must do that. We are also asking the government of Zimbabwe to come up with a housing scheme to provide these people with land from which they can build their own houses. Most of these people were living in shacks in South Africa. It would be very sad for a person to live in a shack in his own country. There's no shortage of land in Zimbabwe. The government must give people land for free where they can build their own houses. They will have to buy building equipment, of course, and materials. They are Zimbabweans. They shouldn't buy land for them to stay. They can pay levies for the development of the land, sewer systems, water systems, electricity systems, road networks. But surely a citizen cannot buy land in his own country. This is where these chachara guys should be talking about now. Why does an African buy land in his own country? Are you a Pan-Africanist? Is this Pan-Africanism now? Haasikuda land yekuti aise chikoro, arikuda kapisi keland kekungogara nemukadzi wake nevana 1000 square meters, anotengerei land iyo nyika iri yake. Munhu ari kubva uko achidzingwa mari yekutenga land anoiwana kupi? Let the government provide accommodation, land for accommodation for our people. Of course, I cannot instruct them what to do. This is why I said it's a request. On behalf of all those people that are returning, give them land. Give them land. They can start a small farming program to start afresh in their own way. So this is what we wanted to say. And we want to warn these charlatans. We want to warn every charlatan. Shame on you if you received a tithe from people who were living in a mukuku, but when the mukuku is destroyed, you turn a blind eye. Shame on you. Most of these people who are sleeping at the bus terminuses, they had their own churches. They paid offerings to the charlatan. In the liberation struggle, churches offered food and shelter to villagers running away from war. The present day church is seeking shelter from people who are in poverty. Iyo church ndiri kutsvaga shelter kuvanhu vari kutambura. Vanhu vamuri kuona vachinzi vari kurara pamabhasi terminus ava vanotori nemachechi mufunge. Zvimapasta izvi zviri kuita kunge zvakafa, hapana kana one chiri kutaura. Before we heard about Wikino Chivayo, we must have heard these self-proclaimed millionaire church people sending buses. Because those who speak for Christ are known for kindness. Amunyarere kuti munofamba muchinyepa kuti mune mari. Asi kana vanhu vaMwari wamunoti ndiye akakutumai wawirwa nedambudziko munohwanda kudai. Kukundwa nenzenza dziri kuita mari neFacebook ndo dzakutumira marofa echingwa. General God's general muri magod's general erudzi. Handiti mune mari tumirai kamabhazi kuCape Town mutakure vana veZimbabwe vamunobira mari. Nhasi vane dambudziko, mari ndimakatora kuti vadzoke kumusha, mari dzebhazi havana. Handiti makati mune mari isingaiti. Tumirai mabhazi, tumirai manesi. Vamwe vari kurwara izvezvi vada kurapwa vachiuya kumusha. Where are the church people? Where is Makandiwa? Where is Magaya? He took money from some of those people and said he's going to give them stands, and they were scammed. Now the people are desperate. The charlatans are quiet. It shouldn't have been the job of the government alone. Everyone must help. We are standing to stand with our people to help our people. We won't have our people sleeping in the open spaces because they can't afford bus fare to go to Zimbabwe. We will not allow it. We are not rich, but we are not going to allow it. Just make sure that we have a way of verifying that these are truly our people. The only help we can give to everybody else is through what we have done today. Tell you the truth of God regarding this matter, what you should focus on, and what you should be doing, and hoping that our government will heed to our call and do the right thing. It is the duty of the government. The government of Ghana sent aeroplanes repatriated its people back to Ghana. We want to see the government of Zimbabwe doing the same. If it is any government to talk about.